The writer's job is to tell the whole truth, especially the truth that people don't want to hear. Friends and grasshoppers, this is the Formless Podcast, episode 119, with Tyler, the superhuman, me, Dustin, and our guest, Cory De Silva.
What's up, everybody? I'm glad to be back. Thank you.
We got Cory in the corner over there.
Yeah. Right on, man. Right on. Cory's a previous guest of ours, a year and a half ago? Not that long ago. Your wife was...
She was pregnant, so within I can't do math.
How old's your baby now?
She's 3 months old. So.
Okay, and she wasn't due it's been about 6 months.
Yeah.
I would say roughly 6 months, because she was pregnant, but she wasn't ready to have that baby yet.
Yeah, probably just a little tiny bump. Yeah.
So you already had your son Bright, and now you've got your daughter. I forget her name.
Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was there was the cool spelling to it. What was it?
I would have to actually look at it. The spelling's real. Let's see. Yeah. I'd have to look at it.
Was it AYR?
Yes. We wanted to torture her later in life when she's got to fill out, forms and stuff.
Forms, paperwork.
But just as a refresher, so Cory and I have known each other for years through filmmaking. And then Cory was a writer on our movie Miracle Mile, and then was also played one of the legendary roles in the film that everybody remembers, hitchhiker.
The hitchhiker.
And so if we ever get to do a sequel or two to Miracle Mile, there's definite plans to bring his character back. He's one
Is
of
he
them.
going to still be hitchhiking?
Well, yes, yeah. There's he's one of the most requested people to bring back for a sequel. So
I think you have to.
Yeah, so he's in Miracle Mile, and so just kind of a little backstory for those who hadn't listened to the last podcast.
Ooh, I may have an idea for you on that. We'll talk about that later, though. So one of the things, I didn't know Cory beforehand, before we had done the podcast, and then as a result of the podcast, which has been really cool with most of the podcast guests, I get to know them.
Yes.
We become, acquaintances, and we're friends on Facebook. And I started seeing these posts from you, semi-regularly about Reddit. And I've been on Reddit for a dozen years. Nothing remarkable, nothing to write home on, but for various interests and stuff. And I keep seeing these posts that you did. Oh, hey, another story that I wrote and posted on Reddit. And this one got, X amount of views, and this one got X amount of likes, and blah, blah, blah. And it became fairly regularly. I would say every week or so, you've got sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. But what's the story there? What happened?
Reddit. So basically, thanks for looking at my posts.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so there's a very popular subreddit called nosleep, and I had stumbled across it a couple years ago. I think I was doing research for, some project Tyler and I were talking about, and I found this just really creepy story set in the woods, and it was written in such a way that it seemed real. And then the comments were acting like it was real. People were like, oh my gosh, are you okay? All this stuff. And so at first I thought, oh my gosh, this is real. And I was
this is a legit story.
Yeah,
and
this is a weird hiker went out and he saw something unexplainable. Actually, it was a national parks ranger, right?
Oh, okay.
Or he was pretending to be the narrator.
Yeah.
So it seemed real, and I was so terrified. And then I found out that no sleep isn't necessarily, maybe some of the stories are real, but mostly the rules are, you tell your story in first person, and then if you comment on a story, you have to act like it's real. And then the author responds
As if it was real.
as the character, and it just kind of adds to the whole spooky, like, creepy feeling. And so I had remembered that, and I was like, oh, that's like so cool because it's just creepy, and because anyway, and so I discovered that, and then years later, I found out some writers got discovered on No Sleep, and now they have a career. So I thought, well, I'll throw my hat in the ring and
see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah.
Wow.
And so you did. You right? What
Yeah.
was the first story you wrote? I read. You sent a couple links to me directly.
Yeah. So the first story I wrote got taken down because I broke like every rule. They have rules, and I just didn't know what I was doing, so I broke like 20 rules. But
they have a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Some subreddits.
Yeah,
like,
they definitely they like it their way, which is fine. But I got the idea. I was at Disneyland with my family. I was just trying to think of, I just started to think, I need to like try this, put myself out there. My wife calling was like, just start posting. So I was trying to think of like, well, what are some creepy ideas? And I thought, I was in Disneyland. I was like, well, what if like there's actually some really evil, dark secret to Disneyland that we don't know about? And so the story was called I'm Trapped Inside Disneyland. And it's this young woman who they go on the Pirates Caribbean ride, and the boyfriend goes crazy and thinks the pirates are real. And then like he breaks some of the pirates, and then they get thrown into this dungeon under Disneyland. It's just very like,
they do have a jail in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Legit. Did you know that?
I did not.
They have a police department in Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's a time for another story, though.
Yeah, the dark side of Disneyland. So anyway, so that was my first one. They took it down. I was like, oh, man. My next one was about a shape-shifting squirrel. That one did okay. And then
when you say okay, like it got certain amount of views, or
I got like 13,000 views.
13,000.
Yeah, for my first time ever, or second time ever. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I posted it in a terrible time slot, and
timing's
a lot.
Very important to get eyes on stuff.
Yeah,
I'm learning that.
Yeah, title has to be a really catchy title, and then the timing, and then my next story just blew up. It was insane.
Really?
Yeah, it's got like, it's not even my biggest one now, but it's got, I think, 268,000 views.
Holy
and just overnight,
cow.
it just blew up. It was so weird.
And that was the
Crazy Uncle story.
That's the first one I read.
Yeah.
What was it? The title is
I stayed the night at my crazy uncle's place. I'm still traumatized by what I saw.
Which is a catchy line. Makes you go, oh, what's interesting about this? Oh.
Yeah, and it was fun because it's about this guy's uncle. He's kind of the conspiracy theory guy who's talking about weather manipulation and lizard people.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
I know, it's like stuff that I think about every day.
Yeah.
And so that was fun to write. And then you find out, oh, there's actually some darker reason why he has these thoughts. And so the story kind of explores that. And for whatever reason, people just really liked that one. So
nice.
It was cool.
Nice. So how often are you doing that? And are you posting on any other subreddits or just No Sleep?
So I'm trying to do it every week, but I say on my profile, like, a new story every week unless something crazy happens. So, like, I had a baby, so I took,
So crazy stuff's happening.
Yeah, like if I have a baby or if I'm just burnt out, exhausted from work or something. I'm going out of town next week, so I probably won't post anything in the next couple of days. But, I just try to do it every week, and I mostly do No Sleep, but if I have a story that doesn't fit their rules, I'll try, like, Scary Stories is another one, something like that. Okay. But No Sleep is that's kind of the cream of the crop because it's got millions of people. So you can just blow up if you have the right thing.
Wow.
There's a story there with when you just said, like, well, I had a baby. Like, there's a story there for No Sleep.
Yeah, no,
That's the title of a movie, story for No Sleep.
My favorite story I think I wrote, which got taken down. I was so sad because it was going to the moon. It was flying. So after my wife had the baby, I hope she's okay with me sharing this, but her bladder stopped working. Like she couldn't
Medical
pee.
issues
Yeah.
are legit.
She couldn't go to the back, like pee. And so she had a catheter in, and it was just a horrible situation where our provider wasn't giving us any information about it. So we were like, so is she just going to have this forever? Like no one would see us because we didn't have an OBGYN. It was just a mess. So we literally went to the ER and be like, dude, take this out. And then they did. And then they said, if she doesn't pee in 8 hours, come back. And she didn't. So we had to come back.
Oh my gosh.
And it took forever to see her. So she's just in agony. It was awful. But that gave me a great story idea. So I have a story.
Sorry you're suffering, honey. But here's
Yeah.
the story I wrote.
The thing about suffering is it makes great stories.
Yeah.
So I did a story where they're in the ER and they notice there's something kind of weird going on in this ER, and the husband is kind of exploring, when he can, and it's just has a cool monster reveal. But sadly that one got taken down, but that was really flying for a moment.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem though. Like some Reddits are very monitored, and like if they have a lot of rules, if you don't follow them, somebody's going to take your stuff.
Yeah, I got accused of being AI also.
Really?
Because I use EM dashes a lot, and I know ChatGPT does that. So
Like with almost everything.
yeah, which is kind of comical. So I think that particular story got flagged as AI, and then there were some other rules that I ended up breaking, so I took it down. But yeah, that was funny. They accusing me of AI. I was like, dude,
I'm a real person.
just
dang
because
it.
I use a punctuation mark, like that's weird. Anyway, whatever.
The day and age we live in.
Yeah. So, why did you put the rules on yourself about posting every week? Curious.
Yeah, so I'm a pretty perfectionistic writer.
Mhm.
I hate showing stuff unless I'm like, this is the next Hamlet, just over the top.
Yeah.
And I was kind of at that crossroads, kind of that moment where I'm like, man, I feel like I'm pretty good, but nothing's happening, Like I worked on that movie with Tyler, but it's one of those things where something happens and then,
There's
and
like
nothing
this
happens.
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
You're kind of
So-
waiting for that next thing.
Yeah, so I just kind of felt like, man, I need a sign that I should even keep doing this because, if nothing's happening, why am I even doing it? And so I was talking to my wife about it, and we were praying about it, and I felt like I heard pretty clearly to post every week for 1 year and see what happens. So I did that, and the third story I posted ended up blowing up. So that was, I took that as a sign okay, yeah, I've got something and I should do this for a year and see what happens.
How long has it been?
It's been about 6 or 7 months. So I've
Okay.
got until April 2026.
Wow.
So we got to have him on the calendar to come back
That-
next
yeah.
April.
Yeah. So, because I kind of go through that same feeling of oh, hey, we're doing good. I'm inspired, got all these ideas. The podcast is doing this and everything's good. And then some weeks I wake up and it's like, what's the point? Right? There's this, it's almost a bipolar feeling. Oh, everything's great. It's the awesomest thing ever. Da 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 da. And then oh, why should I even bother? It's this back and forth, and there's really not any middle ground there for me. That has to be a good feeling when you release a story and that you get reaction, positive, not positive, whatever. You got reaction out of people. So that to me is if I get that, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm inspired to keep going. There's got to be some of that for you.
Yeah, 100%. When a story blows up, I feel like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like a king.
I feel like, because like the last story you that blew up, what was it, a couple weeks ago? What was that one that you messaged me in our group chat with the?
I'm trying to remember the mega one that blew up was about a month ago.
Maybe that's the one.
Might
yeah.
be that one.
What was
Yeah.
that? That one was called.
My 90-year-old grandfather told me something disturbing.
Yeah, that might have been that. And but I can feel like when you message and it blows up, you can just feel like, oh, like Cory's like on cloud 9, like, and that's awesome because that makes me feel good too. I'm like, good for him, man. Like,
Well, yeah, we all want to see our friends succeed.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah,
I found it interesting is like, if you are a plumber or a mechanic or a bricklayer or whatever, you got to put in that work.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't get paid unless you do the work. And as somebody in the arts, like you don't really get paid until somebody's like, hey, you're good. And I'm going to pay you to do your thing that you're good at. But that's a long road between doing it and getting paid. Right. Like, you've got to be putting yourself out there, and nobody's willing to give you that based off of nothing. Like you have to have something substantial to show like, look, I can do this. And this is all the other stuff that I've done. And it takes a certain degree of discipline to do that. Because not, as not all of your stories hit, and not all of them even make it to that. Like, how many did you write and go, oh, I'm not even going to submit this? Or you submit it, you put all the work in, and then some moderator comes along and is like, oh no, this violates all of our rules. You don't even get to post this. It's got to take a certain degree of discipline and of fortitude to just kind of like, here you go. I'm just going. And Tyler and I have experienced that with the podcast. We were talking beforehand, like, there's so many things that we still don't know about and don't know how to do properly. Like, we were talking about one of the posts I made last week for the podcast, and it was like, we have a group page for the podcast, and I was sharing everything to it. Instead of making 2 separate posts, I would just make one post because I'm lazy that way, and then share it from my personal page to the group. So it looks like I'm doing all of the things, and it should be from the page and then shared the opposite. You go the opposite direction of that, but it's just simple little stuff. And I'm sure that like, there's things like that for you. Like, oh, I didn't even know that broke the rules on this group. Like, I just submitted it, and here I am with like the story that can't be published now because I didn't follow the rules.
Yeah, for sure. It's like I said, I feel like a king. I feel like Brad Pitt when it goes well.
Yeah.
And then some stories are just complete bombs, and it's really hard. But the way that I've kind of gone through it is my mindset is, okay, I'm going to probably write thousands of stories in my lifetime. At least in this year phase, I'll write hundreds. And so if I do have a bomb, I'm like, who cares? Whatever. I'll write another one
next week.
I'll write another one next week.
Yeah.
So, which is cool because I used to be very like, oh my gosh, like,
I can't do it. I'm
I
terrible.
I have one chance to prove. And now I'm like, I don't care. Whatever. Like, I'm just going to, who was some famous singer was like, he got, Smashing Pumpkins. He was
Billy
saying,
Corgan?
yeah, he was saying that he hated getting to the point where he's like, oh, I was writing these like incredible songs and incredible albums, and then the only thing people would say to me is like, well, what's your next thing? What's your next thing?
Yeah.
And he said he hated that. And I was like, actually, I live off that because I want my next story to be better than my previous one. So that's kind of my mindset is I'm just going to keep going. And it does suck when a story bombs because you put your heart and your soul into it.
Oh, yeah.
And you never know, like some stories that I thought were kind of lame did really well. And then, so
one of the best pieces of advice I heard in regards to like what we're doing with the podcast and stuff was like, you don't know what somebody could read or hear, in your case, read, but in our case, listen to and find inspiring. Like, you don't know what, put it out there. Just put it out there, because what you think could be garbage might be the thing that makes somebody listen to you for the rest of their life, or find it inspiring and go and do their own thing because of that. And when I heard that I was kind of like, not rejecting it outright, but kind of like, oh yeah, sure, you're just trying to like be nice, like you're just being nice, but it's legit. I've come across points where, things get busy and this becomes a chore because like life, kids, work, whatever. And then somebody will come along and be like, hey, I heard what you did last week, or I saw something you did and that was pretty cool, man. You should keep it up. And it's like, oh, all right,
that little
cool.
bit
That little bit of like that little thing. And yeah.
It's nice when it works.
It's cool. It's good.
I think the challenge is not letting it kill you when it
doesn't
work.
Because,
work.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the challenge, I think, as creators.
Yeah. And not everything is going to be a smashing success. You just have to accept that fact. Like, we don't all wake up and piss excellence, unfortunately. Right? Like, it's a shame. I wish we could. But, the key is to do it even when you're not doing it right. That you just keep that routine, that practice, that discipline to keep going. Because eventually, if you hit it once, you can hit it again. That's my mindset. Like, okay, I did it one time. That means I can do it again. It can be done. It's not impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you only need one big break, You only need that one, where they go, oh, my overnight success, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
I've been doing this for 10 years, buddy.
So that's how I view it, is like, and I don't tie everything to like a magic wand or anything, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like, I just need that one thing to happen, that thing to click, and to lead to the next thing after that. So
it's going to come.
And if it doesn't, I like scaring people. So
yeah.
Or making them laugh, whatever the story is.
You're plowing every week, right? You put that, like we're doing with the podcast, right? You're plowing every week. You've got, it's this self-imposed, I don't know if that's the right word, self-imposed deadline where you're like, I'm going to post once a week. So you're consistent. And so that's 56 posts, right, in a year. Mm-hmm. And so you're just plowing, and you're only going to get better, and have even more success.
Yeah. As long as you keep plowing.
Mm-hmm. And I think having that consistency of once a week, so what does it look like? Like, is it Monday you start? I kind of wanted to
go for
figure.
It. Yeah.
So like Monday rolls around. We're on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So Monday rolls around. What are you doing on Monday? What are you doing on Tuesday? Do you have a type of consistency that's where you have the macro consistency of once a week? Does that shrink down into like Monday from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. I am mapping out my next story. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, 100%. So I post Sunday evenings at 7. I find that works pretty well for me. And so usually I'll start on, I will have posted my story Sunday evening, and then I usually have to work in the evenings because that's when my kids are asleep.
Yeah.
So late at night, so I don't sleep anymore, but oh well.
Sleep.
I work for like,
overrated.
2 to 4 hours a night, and not just on these stories, other creative things too, but maybe like an hour or two every night. I might take a day off if I'm burnt out, but And Monday is usually the come up with a new idea or revisit an old one and see if that one's the one to do. And I'll just kind of be working and developing it. And then when I feel like it's readable and I'm like, oh, this is as good as I can get it, I'll send it to Colleen. And she's
who's Colleen?
my
Your
wife.
Okay.
Yeah. She'll tell me like, oh no, this one's kind of dumb or this, or she'll be like, yeah, that's pretty good, So when I get that response that, yeah, I liked it, I'll be like, okay. And then that's usually by Wednesday or Thursday, I'll get that back from her. And then if she has notes, whatever, if not, then I'll just kind of keep revising it, editing it. And then Sunday night is like the, jump in the fire day where probably by 5 p.m. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go work on my story. And I'll like 1 or 2 hours, I'll just have it in the, the app, and I'll just be editing the heck out of it with the mindset of, this has to be done by 7. So it's like I got a gun to my head a little bit.
Yeah, you got the pressure.
Yeah, and I kind of like that because I feel like, editing when you're comfortable in your office or whatever is different from editing when you
have a deadline.
Hundreds of thousands of people could see this, So you kind of like, you're kind of like frantic, and I kind of like that feeling.
I think having a little bit of pressure, like something or someone holding your feet to the fire, I think that helps push you to do. Speaking personally, I think that helps to make, like, you don't sweat things that would normally bother you, right? Like things that you could sit there and take time on and agonize over because nobody's there. When you have a self-imposed deadline or somebody else's deadline, you kind of like, okay, well that's not an issue anymore. Like this thing that would bother me normally, if I can take an eternity on, forget it. Yep. We'll just move on,
Mm-hmm.
That is such a good way to talk about it. Like that. So you have your posting once a week for a year, but then you have to post at 7 p.m. on Sunday. And you actually at that point you've probably posted stories where you're like, well, I know this could be better, but I got to post it. Right. Keep going. What were you saying?
No, that exactly what I was going to say. I find that like, there's a certain degree of stress involved when you have a deadline, whether it's self-imposed or not. But also like, that's when I feel like what I'm doing is important. Like it's got a value to it. Like, okay, I've been kicking this can down the road. Now it's time. Sorry. It's time to like do the thing and make something happen. That's cool. I really respect that.
So talking about self-imposed deadlines, right? So I just sent off a contract to hire this writer for this short script I'm going to do, right?
Yeah.
The one we were talking about, Little Johnny.
Yeah.
And I said I said in the contract, I said, this is the amount of pages, max pages, and this is the amount of drafts we're doing. And I told the writer, I said, I want to be done with draft number 5 by this time. Like, I don't want this to be like a 6-month, 12-month process. Like, I want to go in,
here's your deadline,
hammer it out, and be done, and move on to actually making the short film. And so that's good. Like, I put that like, and that was like self-imposed. Like, I don't like that idea I was telling you. I've had this idea for 5 or 6 years to do this idea,
least,
and kicking this can down the road. And I was just like, well, it's never going to be a perfect idea, and just pull that trigger. And then I put those deadlines on. And so that really makes me feel that you have to make decisions when there's a dedeadline. Like the things that would normally bug you, you're just like, nope, like here's the answer right there.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And sometimes you need to take that time to agonize over a decision. But when it comes down to it, like if you want to actually do something, I think that like you have to have some sort of a game plan.
Yeah.
You have to have like, okay, by this time next week, we're going to have these 3 things done. Hell or high water, you know?
I think one of the greatest,
at least in my mindset, like for
Absolutely.
me to get it done, I have to have something like that. Sorry, not to.
No. I think like to add to that, like what I've done in the past, like especially when I've been writing things, like writing scripts. I don't know if I probably mentioned this before on the podcast, but like if I'm writing a script myself and I want to finish it by a certain deadline, I at one point took $200 and gave it to my friend, and I said, and I put it in an envelope, gave it to my friend. I said, if I do not finish this script by this date, this $200 is yours, dude.
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty good.
So actually I gave him $220 cash in an envelope, and I had another witness in front of him. And I said, if I do not do this, actually I did that with Denise too, another writer of ours. And I said, if I do not finish this by this date, this cash is all yours. But if I do finish this by this date, I get $200 back, and you get 20 just for holding on to the cash. So you're making money either way.
Yeah. And you don't have to do anything but hold this envelope
and just put it in a safe spot. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that having that pressure to do that is like, that's a motivator, you know,
especially if you don't want to lose $200.
if you don't want to lose $200.
Yeah.
So anyways, go ahead.
Especially in today's economy, right?
Yeah. I would not want to do that.
But I like that you have that gun to the head tape thing, you know, every Sunday. Like, I've got to post this. It may not be perfect, but we got to let fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so funny. My biggest story, I felt like I'm not happy with this story. I was just like, but I have to post it.
I made a commitment. Yeah.
So I kind of posted it, and I was like, ugh, whatever. And then that one ended up, I think it's got like 360,000 views now. So
Dang.
it's just one of those that blew up is in the top maybe 15 for the month, which is pretty big. And
Which one is that called?
that's my 90-year-old grandfather told me something disturbing. So, which, yeah, I don't know. So it's weird. Like some stories that I'm like, I love this story so much. You know, this is whatever. And then no one likes it. And then the ones I don't care about, like, do really well. It's so weird. So,
Well, that just kind of goes to show you that we are our own worst critic, right? Like, I personally think that I think most people are like this. We're a poor judge of self. Like, I dealt with this in teaching, where I would go through a class, teach 6 hours not 6 hours, 4 hours, 4 classes, 5 classes, something like that. And just be like, oh, this is terrible. Nobody's getting anything out of this. Nobody likes this. Da, da, da. And the end of the class, people come up and like, hey, good class. Good job today. That was fun. I enjoyed it. You know, and you're like, I thought that sucked. And then ones that I would think like, oh man, this is going to be so awesome. It just falls flat on its face. And now I've done it enough to where I'm just like, I have no idea if this is going to succeed or not, but I have like a couple of backup plans. So I feel like if it does go south, I can pull something out of my pocket and be like, oh, hey, we're going to do this now. Change gears.
that's awesome.
But yeah. And I think that like when you like, if you make to bring it to movies and stuff, like there's always a risk involved. Anytime you make a movie and you don't know, and it's so long from the start of the movie to the end of the product, like tides shift, people's interests change, things happen. It's a gamble, and you don't know if things are going to take off or not. I mean, like you could have a good feeling about it, but good feelings come and go.
Yeah, man.
And go ahead.
I was just saying, you go ahead, actually.
I was just saying that, no, you go ahead. No, I'm just kidding. No. So I, with posting once a week and, you know, are you to add to the timing of like week after week after week? do you have your next 2 ideas, your next 3 ideas lined up? Like next week I'm going to write this one, 2 weeks from now, and then you're slowly in your mind categorizing like, okay, and you're kind of working on this idea over here, then you shift over and work on this idea. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, so I call it a bank, I guess,
okay.
and I'm
Make
also
deposits.
yeah.
Oh, that's good.
There you go. I'm also working on other stuff like scripts and stuff, but on my so if I get like, oh, I can't do a story right now, I'll just work on something else. But yeah, for my stories, I'll try to pick one like on Monday-ish and stick to it for the week. But sometimes I'm just like, I need to do something different. I'll work on a new idea, or I'll jot down, something else, or I'll revisit an old one. And yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. I kind of bounce around, but I try to be disciplined with picking my story and then sticking to it, because I also don't want to like waste time. And anyway, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. And so you probably might work on an idea for a couple days and be like, I don't know, that one's not ready, or that's not a very good one.
It needs
and
to
then,
marinate.
yeah. And that goes in the trash bin, and this one goes in the back burner, the back burner. But what I just find out is what's so interesting is that just every week you're able to pull out an idea, and just like, boom, like as writers, like I know, like you're always looking for your next inspiration. Like for me, being a writer too, when you're talking about having your baby, your daughter, Ireland, and you're like, oh, having a baby. And I was like, oh, there's a story for No Sleep there, right? Like you just see like there's a story there.
Heck yeah. One of my probably favorite stories in the sense of I like the idea of trying to, it's fun to have just a cool horror story about a ghost or something, or some cool swamp creature or something. So I like those too. I love monsters, but I also try to like, okay, what's something like that I care about inside that I can put into a story and maybe actually have a deeper meaning, which may or may not work. But so one story I had was basically what happens is this guy's trying to schedule an appointment for a bladder scanner, which just happened to me. And just because of our medical bureaucracy and everything, he kept, he can't get it scheduled.
The runaround. I'm dealing with that
Yeah.
right now.
Okay, yeah. So literally true story. I go into the place. I'm like, I've been calling you like 20 times. How do I schedule an appointment? She's like, oh, you have to call this number. So I call this number. And it's just like jumping through all these hoops. And so I wrote this story about like, this guy's like, he can't get through. He's like, I'm just trying to schedule an appointment. And then he goes to the place and he's like yelling at the lady. And the security guard grabs him and like throws him in this room. And it ends up being this place called The Other Place. And it's where all the people that have been like abandoned by our medical system, they're stuck in this like other dimension with these evil demons and monsters. And that one was really fun to write, because it was like, I get to tell a cool story. I also get to say F you to the medical industry that has screwed me over so many times. And anyway, so that one was a fun one.
Right on. I want to go back. You touched on something there a minute ago. The bank of ideas.
Yeah.
How often do you make deposits?
Like a new idea?
Yeah.
And
is it literally like just a space on your computer, or do you have like a notebook? Or
so the way I do it is it's all on my computer. It's like sometimes on my phone, I just go into Notepad or whatever that app is, and usually it'll come up with like a title that I think, oh, that would do really well. Yeah. Or usually titles are what I think, because I find if I think of like a cool monster or a cool thing, but you don't have a good title, no one will read it. So I try to stick with titles for now. But yeah, I think that's the thing I'm best at, is coming up with ideas, because I'm always asking myself, okay, what's scary? And I like finding that in like normal things, like going to the bank or like going to the doctor or doing some boring life thing that I hate doing, like
Some mundane
yeah,
thing
like
that's
I
like-
have to go mail this check. Like this is not what I want to do right now. So I try to think, okay, well, what's something creepy or cool about that?
What would make it interesting?
Yeah, like is there something in the I really enjoy finding like I just think of like a situation and like what would make this creepy, and I for some reason I just really enjoy thinking about that stuff. And I've had weird life stuff happen. Like I have had bed bugs in real life. Ooh. And they're horrible. And so I wrote a story about bed bugs, and that one did really well too, over 100,000 views. And a lot of the stuff in that story actually is like real, like how they got rid of the bugs, what were we dealing with psychologically, what are the bugs like. And so I just try to, I'm like 36 years old now. So like I have so many memories. I can just go back and put like a creepy twist on it or some psychological twist on it. And it's fun for me. I just like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is did we already go over what your name is on Reddit? Like, do you have like a posting name?
Yeah. Yeah. It's Cave Lice. Yeah.
Cave Lice?
Yeah.
Cave Lice. That's your
one word?
Yeah.
Cave Lice. So like, do people follow you? I don't use Reddit a lot. I've been on it, a bunch, but I don't really use it. So like they follow Cave Lice, and every time there's a posting, it's like it pops up on their phone as a notification.
I think it's like an email, because
okay.
I'll get emails sometimes from people I'm following. I don't have many followers now. I'm finding that no sleep readers are they just want, what's the cool story right now?
They're not so concerned with the poster, but more about the story.
Not so much until you get into like, once you cross that certain threshold, then they start to recognize, oh, this person is like consistently putting out really cool stories. So like the people I really admire, they have, sizable followers, but I mean, they probably have 30 million or more views over their stories. They're massive. Wow. So yeah.
So rather than people following you and then it pops up, oh, Cave Lice has a new story, they're just the people that on Sunday night they get on Reddit, and it's that time of week, and they just are scrolling through, and they're like, oh, there's a new one by Cave Lice. Like, is that pretty much how it goes?
Yes.
And then they share it and they recommend it in the comments and everything, right?
Yeah, so how Reddit and their algorithm works, it's the only social media platform I understand, the algorithm-wise, but it's geared toward, especially like No Sleep, it's geared toward what's the coolest hot story right now.
Yeah, because people can upvote it or downvote it, right?
Yeah, so if you get like an upvote, which is like a like, then the algorithm sees that and will push it higher in the top of the day, put you in the hot categories, different categories on the subreddit. So I'm forgetting your question now, but basically, I'm so sorry. What was your question?
No, it was just
he was asking more about like how it works. Right?
Yeah, just like how all these stories of yours get 300,000 views.
Yeah.
Like you just post and people are just randomly scrolling, kind of like in the no sleep thread or the
Yeah. So the way I do it strategically, and I feel like it works for me. So I and this is a great reason to use AI, is I ask AI like, hey, like what are the best times to post on No Sleep? And it gives me time slots. And so I know like the hottest time is, I'm like, am I telling a dark secret here? The hottest time is, I believe, like Tuesday morning. And you try to post at a time where you're going to get all time zones, at least in the US. And then you'll get some Europe time zones. So that for me over here would be like maybe 5 a.m. I would post, and then or maybe, I forget, somewhere in there. So I'm trying to hit every time zone. Basically, the crowd is people on the way to work. People riding the subway.
Oh,
people.
Interesting.
Yeah, that are.
They've got a minute.
Yeah,
and they're just trying to.
They're warming up their coffee, and they want to see, what's a creepy thing I can read right now, or any Reddit forum, like what's the big thing in my sub community or whatever subreddit. But my thing that I like better is, because my story is a little more like slow burn, atmospheric. I like to build up a little bit. So I post on Sunday night at 7 p.m. because I'm trying to catch all the people that are like not wanting to start their week. You know, they're like, oh man, I just got the kids in bed. I'm so tired. I don't want to work tomorrow. What can I do?
There's nothing on TV.
I can go on No Sleep and read some really cool stories. And so that's kind of my strategy. And if you do it right and you get enough upvotes on that evening, then it puts me on top Monday morning when all the weekday people are going to work and like, Monday. Like, who wants to go to work on Monday, right?
Right.
It's like the worst day. And so my strategy has been, okay, if I can get enough attention Sunday night, Reddit will boost me to the top on Monday, and then all those people on Monday will see me. And then if I get enough Monday morning, then it just boosts me through the week, and then I'm in the top 20 for the week. And if you make the top month, then you're just kind of flying. So
That's brilliant. That's like a 1-2, like a combination, like a jab punch.
Yeah, jab cross or something. Yeah. No, that's a unique idea. I like that. And you find that works, obviously.
yeah, I kind of, they're like, what's your target audience? All that dumb stuff. But it's true. But I think of myself, like I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I work nonstop the weekends. I'm still exhausted. And, the time that I would most likely read that or watch something is probably a Sunday night.
When everybody's like getting ready for the next week.
Yeah. And I don't like to work. And so it's like, if there's anything I can do to escape into a fantasy world before real life starts, I'll do that. So that's kind of been my strategy, to get those people, to capture them. So
yeah. Now you said that there have been some jobs that have come from that for others. Like,
yeah.
Really? Like, do you have an example?
So yeah, Elias Witherow is a really, I wouldn't say famous writer, but very popular. He blew up on No Sleep, and they just optioned a movie from his story, Tommy Taffy, which is like such a disturbing story. I don't recommend that one. It's really well written, but it just covers like a very dark subject. It's like, but he did start posting on No Sleep and just went mega viral. And now I think the actor that's playing the villain in that movie is the dad from Back to the Future. So the nerdy dad.
Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they've got I forget who's directing it, but yeah. So Elias Witherow probably got a nice paycheck for that, and he sells books on Amazon, so he has a career. And there's other people as well, but that's the one.
That's the one that you can.
I'm kind of chasing the model.
So
now.
Go ahead. No.
Are you sure?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, because one of the things I'm not. I used to be a pretty avid Reddit user, and now I've kind of gone away from using it as much. One of the things that I found interesting about that particular Reddit or subreddit, No Sleep, is there's a comment section like all subreddits, but you were saying that people have to ask questions as if the story was real, and then you're supposed to reply as if you were the main character.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so fun. Yeah.
Does that provide, other than being fun, does that provide inspiration or more ooh, I can continue this story and make it more?
Yeah, I think the fun part about it is people have such cool ideas and questions, and so often their thoughts are just more interesting than I could have made it. So
something you wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah, my stories, I try not to really explain what the thing is or where it came from. I try to
the unknown is more.
Yeah,
creepy.
The unknown is creepier. So I try to not answer all the questions, and so that gives the readers the opportunity to be like, "Well, what the frick was that?" Or,
yeah.
What is that? That was frick, not the F word. For our young listeners, don't swear. Yeah, so that's a real fun opportunity, and they'll have comments like, "Oh my gosh, like, have you thought that this thing is actually a forest god, or this thing is actually this?" And I'm like, I have to answer as the character, be like, "Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, maybe," but I'm like inside, like, that's so cool. Like, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So,
Like you're getting inspiration after the fact.
yeah,
right?
I'm like, these people are amazing. So yeah, it's fun.
Reddit can be very cool, but it can also be a cesspool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I try to stay off there. I have another subreddit that is more toward a certain type of like horror literature. And yeah, there's been some nasty political comments in there, which is like,
No, really?
well, it's
Just
like,
kidding. I'm joking.
yeah, it's just like, let's just not bring that in, guys. Because yeah, some people, man, just have really brutal takes. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of a lot of bot forums and stuff too, especially on like the more political pages, and that's just
Yeah.
lame.
It's horrible. Yeah, I try to stay off unless I'm posting or looking at something specific. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you can go down the rabbit hole pretty
For
quick.
sure, and I have.
Now, so we were kind of talking about like this with the podcast, and but I think it's a question that all creatives talk about and wrestle with. At the end of the day, we all we like to express ourselves, and this is your way. One way that you like to express yourself is to write these stories and put them out there. And it's always kind of like one of those things that I wonder about as a filmmaker, the why. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I do this, right? Like, would I make movies if nobody was there to watch them but me, right? Would you write stories if they didn't blow up? This isn't a simple question, but it's a question I always kind of ask myself, like, why do I do it? Do I like creating the world, the story, and like leading people through that process of like, okay, here's the setting. It's a hospital, and the husband's, and the guy's in the hospital, and he's trying to get a bladder scan or whatever. That was the phone call one. But here's the situation. And then you like to lead people through storytelling, right? Like, I always just wonder about the why with other creatives. And like, for me, example, I like to make movies at the end of the day that I just want to sit down and watch myself. Like, I just want to make movies that I would sit down in a movie theater and watch myself, and just, even the ones that I'm in, I watch, and I'm just like, and I disconnect from the fact like, oh, I'm in this film, or, oh, I produced this film, and I'm just like, oh, this is a good film, like, and you just, at the end of the day, that's what I like to do, is kind of make it for myself and invite others along and be like, hey, come watch this, type thing. Like, is that kind of like with you with writing? Like, you write something that you'd want to read, and you're just essentially inviting others along.
Yeah, especially with these short stories, and I just think of things I just enjoy escaping into a story and
being led along, right? Like being led by the author.
Yeah, it's almost like I just envision like this tired 40-year-old dad working in the salt mines all day, and he comes home. He's too tired to like do anything, but he's like, oh, I can read this cool book or this cool story, and it'll just give him that spark of life for a moment to keep going. I think that's kind of because I need that. As there's some days where I'm just like, I'm about to like jump off a bridge, I'm losing it. And so I need those moments, whether it's a movie or a book or a short story or whatever. And so if I can provide that for someone and maybe save a marriage or save someone's life, just give them that rush of fun, that would be cool, because I need it sometimes.
For sure.
And with those creepy stories too, horror is known for this horror and sci-fi. It's you put these really good ideas into them and then you explore them, right? These themes. I mean, I think of the greatest horror films and what the themes of those are, and they're wrapped in this story that's explored. And some don't have a theme and they're just good anyways. They just pull you along.
Yeah, sometimes like I just want to watch something fun, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
need to
yeah.
mean
Something
anything.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly,
But-
exactly.
I mean, The Shining is one of my favorite examples of what you were talking about, where I watched it recently and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like the perfect metaphor for abuse, parental abuse or spouse abuse, because it's basically the husband, you know, abusing metaphorically the wife. And, you know, the comment in about his son, how they mentioned how he had pulled his son's arm too hard and it dislocated his son's shoulder, and how that hangs over him and he feels guilt, and his wife kind of tries not to make him feel guilty about that. But and so I just felt like, and then so that story is kind of in one way about him trying to resist the alcohol and trying to become that scary person, but he finally gives into it by the end. And that's the true horror, is a man trying to kill his own wife and child. And I thought, dang, that's such a good way to tell that story. Instead of telling a story like, abusing your children is bad, they tell it in like a really cool, creepy ghost story. So yeah, anyway, to jump off what you're saying, masterful.
Those are the good. I mean, of course, it's Stephen King, so then it was adapted into a great film by Stanley Kubrick, and so those themes are just wrapped up. And I think I mean, you can have a horror film that's very just like kind of one dimensional, and they're great, right? They're just really, really good. And then you have those ones that are more like 3-dimensional, and they've got those themes wrapped up in it, like you just said. And those are the ones you're like, oh man, like that. And that's like a cautionary tale that you can insert into a story that then that 40-year-old father that comes home from the salt mines whips out his phone and is reading that and says, oh, that was a good one. And it starts to maybe work on his subconscious, you know, and like.
Yeah. No. I like
That's
it.
good.
That's good. Deep. This took a turn that I wasn't prepared for. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Guys.
But it's the why. And
I got
think,
to thinking about Stephen King and The Shining and Stanley Kubrick, so I apologize. I went off in my own head.
I mean, they're great. Why not think
Yeah.
about them?
yeah. So but you know, it's the why. And so it sounds like to me, like you're saying the why of why you keep doing this is you imagine almost like another version of you, another man who's coming home and just needs that 10-minute escape, right? He's burnt out from the work week and just wants to whip out his phone and read something cool that just gets him like, oh, that was good. And then he goes back to work and tells his coworkers about and says, you got to read this story, man. Like,
Yeah, or goes tells his wife, oh, you know, or maybe he's like, oh, now I can go hug the kids, you know?
yeah,
I just needed
yeah.
5 minutes to, you know, to play.
Yeah.
So.
So is that your why then?
I think that's a large, but while you were saying that, I was like, well, I also want to provide for my family. So,
Right.
but I think the
Food
deeper,
is a good motivator.
Yeah, I think the deeper, maybe more noble, I don't know if more noble, but I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That's interesting. I've heard very different approaches to that whole subject about the why. Like, you have to create something for yourself first, and then like show others. Or I've heard that kind of thing. I think of it more as a neurotic thing. Like, I have this idea, and I'm going to obsess over it until I get it on paper or get it recorded or get it made in some form, some fashion. Like, this thing has got to get out because it's going to make me insane to just sit here and stew on this and not do anything with it.
I mean, dude,
I think that's a very legit reason to do something too. I think and the why is like, in that case, it's like, oh, I've got to get this out and express this, or I'm going to stew on it.
Yeah.
And that's very legit versus somebody who's like, I just want some attention because I want to tell a good story and I like people giving me feedback, like I think that's legit too.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any really wrong answer. I mean,
No, because everybody's got their own answer there, their own opinion on those things. I think there's motivations, which you could be motivated to make money, but I think that's a fleeting kind of feeling, because money's going to come, money's going to go. Like that stuff changes, right? You can be motivated to earn something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
that's
the big house,
very legit.
But I think I think like if you're, I want to do this because I like to do this. I'm passionate about doing this. I think I'm good at it. I want to find out if I'm good at it. And hopefully I can do this and make money at it and sustain my family for it. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's an amazing thing.
That's a very legit, positive. I think that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Is right to make art, to do something, to express yourself, to be able to support your family on, and others see it. Yeah. Right. And then it becomes the fine line of, do I, like, I'm sure you just get satisfaction. Like, you're like, this is cool, Cory, right? Like, oh, I got 100,000 views on this story, but you're maybe may or may not be so much the numbers. I mean, you've got to have numbers, right? You've got to have, a company has to sell so much of its product to say, oh man, we sold this product. We're doing good.
Why are we making
Or why are we doing it? So it's a very legit thing to say, like, I got 100,000 views. Like that's a really cool thing. And you're like, well, that's 100,000 people that now have been
exposed to that story.
Well, exposed, and it has affected them in a certain way.
Yeah.
Affected, AFFECTED.
Yeah, and I've noticed why I do the numbers thing is I feel like people, especially in the industry I'm pursuing, they don't really pay attention to you or care about you unless they're like, oh, this person's got something going on.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, because like if nobody's reading your story, then you're not gonna make money for them, right?
True.
Like I can't invest in you to like write a script for a movie or a TV
book,
show or a book if 3 people and your mom are reading it, right? Like we need to have, because it costs money to make this stuff. There's a dichotomy there. Like the artist is doing that for these noble reasons, right? And then the guy who's funding the movie, or gal or whomever, team of people, they're in it because there's money to be made. So you have this like this balance here, this delicate balance of like, oh, we did this to make a bunch of money. Well, it sucks and nobody wants it.
Yeah.
There's a movie. Speaking of movies, I cannot remember the name of it. I heard about it on Reddit. Believe it or not, ironically enough, it was made in like the 70s. Something Heaven. And like all these big name actors are in it.
Heaven's Gate?
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah.
Yes. It was like the biggest commercial flop of all time at the time.
Yeah.
And I've never seen the movie. I kind of want to watch it after reading all the articles about it. But they spent like tons of money, all these A-list actors, and it just didn't do anything. And it was like, and I don't know anything about the movie other than it was a massive flop. And I don't know if it was like this passion project of somebody, or somebody got the harebrained idea that it was going to make a bunch of money. I don't know any of that. All I know is they made the movie by all accounts, like you read the cast, you see who's directing it and who's producing it and all this stuff. And you're like, it's got to be a good movie. It's got to be like this blockbuster. And it just smashed flat face first into the wall.
Well, what's kind of funny is I know a ton about this because I'm a film nerd, but I think Michael Cimino directed it, And so he had done Deer Hunter.
Right.
Which
okay.
is phenomenal
Oh
movie.
man, that movie's good.
I watched that at
Yeah.
way too young of an age.
So
Have you seen it?
A couple times.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. But so he comes out with the Deer Hunter and it wins like every
Every
award.
It was like, yeah.
Yeah, so overnight he was like a superstar and everyone wanted to work with him. So he had this old script that legend says he actually was trying to get John Wayne to do it, but John Wayne was too old at that time or had passed on. Anyway, so he's like, well, I got this old Western. And by that time, they're like, well, he's just won Best Director. So he could do anything he wants. And here's millions of dollars. So I think what happened in that case is the artist had complete control and there was no business acumen involved. There was
no one's like,
hey, we gotta like finish filming today. He would like spend hours, they would build the set. He's like, I need this building moved like 2 inches or something, stuff like that, which is like, what? So in that case, it's like you do need that business side to you as an artist, I think, to be like, okay, like just make the damn thing, just get it done.
Yeah. Quit agonizing over 2 inches.
Yeah, and you have to have those. You have to have the business side, and that's where your numbers comes in as far as your viewership, and that's a very legit thing because down the road somebody's going to come to you, like a movie producer. They're going to come to you and they're going to be like, oh, like this guy's got 56 stories he posted once a week for a year, and this is how many total views he's got. He's got a following, and there's people that know about him.
Yeah, that makes sense on like from a dollars and cents point of view.
Just a logical point of view, that makes sense. Yeah. So,
how cool.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things, you ask the why. It's like, if you knew nobody was going to see your work or nobody was going to do your art or nobody was going to listen to your podcast or nobody was going to see your painting or nobody was going to see you do martial arts or whatever your thing is, would you keep doing it? Right? Like, would you keep doing it just for your own love? Like, if you got 5 views a week on your stories, would you keep doing it? And I think you would. Actually, I know you probably would because it's a form of expression. Like you said, Dustin, like you have to, if you don't express it, it's going to eat at you and just nag it.
Or come out in ways that maybe you don't want it to come out.
It's going to manifest some way.
Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate and actually... I don't know if I would. If
really? You don't think so?
Read my... Because I heard, try it for a year. I think I'm the kind of guy that's like, I will try anything to get to where I want to be. And so screenplays is one. Short stories is one. I did poetry for a while. I don't do poetry anymore. I might try novels. I might try novella. So I think maybe at the core, like, yes, I would always... tell stories in some way, but I have ideas for board games too. So I feel like, I'm the kind of guy that's like, I'm gonna try something, and if no one likes it, I'm gonna try the next thing.
Yeah,
maybe because it feels a little more entrepreneurial. Maybe.
Yeah, no, that's very legit.
Yeah.
That's
but like,
totally.
I can imagine you as a writer, like you got stories. Right? That's like why you write. You have these stories in your head. When you're like putting your kids to sleep, do you tell them stories? Do you
that's a good
do you
question.
Make stuff up? Do you have fun? Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm going to push back and play devil's advocate a little bit.
Two
if
doubles.
nobody liked it, double negative. What's that make? No. But if so, like, okay, you write stories, nobody likes it. You don't get any feedback on Reddit. Well, Reddit's just one thing, right?
Oh.
So if you're telling your little boy a story and he wants you to keep going, right? Like that to me, like, okay, there you go. You have something. You
have an audience.
You have a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. A lot of deep things.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm just like, my personality is I don't want to waste time doing something that doesn't work. And I do realize that it takes
effort
it
and
takes
time.
10, 20 years to break in the industry. So I do realize that it's not like, oh, it's just going to work if I do something. But I also, I feel like, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, my biggest responsibility is to my wife and to my children. And if I'm off being an idiot, doing something that's
not
taking away from them, not providing, not doing this, then I'm just going to stop. And I think I would be sad if I turned all this stuff off. I think I would be a very sad person, but I could have a good life. Because my thing is I just love my family and I'm just going to take care of them. But if I can make money doing what I love, then I'm Elon Musk, I'm richer than him, which he probably does what he loves. But so
it's got a 1 trillion paycheck,
Yeah, so it's kind of like, if it works out, I will be the happiest man on earth, and if it doesn't, I'll be a little sad. But whatever, my kids, I got a wife, and yeah.
Well, I call it that you get your cake and you get to eat it too.
Yeah.
The fact that you can do the fun stuff that you enjoy doing, plus have the other things, like it takes work and effort, but so does everything else.
Yeah, you're right.
So like, where am I going to put that time and effort? Where am I going to put the work in? Well, I go to work, me personally, I go to work to help provide for my family, take care of things, pay the bills, feed everybody. And then like this, I'm doing work in this. Does it pay the bills? It doesn't even pay for itself right now. The goal is to make it pay for itself and then step beyond that, right? But this is my cake and this is eating it too.
Well, I had, so like, for example, like for me as a, aspiring movie producer, I can't make movies for free. That money has to come from somewhere, and it has to make money. Otherwise people aren't going to trust me with their money. So I get that. But also on the other side of things, I had, it was 7 years ago, I had, and this goes into the why, right? And like you talking about, like you have to get it out, or it'll if you don't express yourself, it'll manifest in a different way. And if you didn't get, like Cory, like you said, if you don't get to do this, you'll become a very sad person, right? And you would become sad, but you'd be able to exist. My from what I had 7 years ago, I was going through a really difficult time, and I was on the verge of totally walking away from filmmaking. Like, right. And that's filmmaking.
Like I got to do this or forget about it.
Yeah. Or? I mean, I was like at the point of cutting the cord and just saying, like, I had done 2 shows. I'll just leave it at that. I had done 2 shows and nothing came of either of those shows. And I was just like, I'm at the verge of walking away, like, of this. Like, I was at that point of like, where I think like an artist says, boom, like you've either this has got to work or it's got to go. And I was talking with I was in a counseling session with a nurse, a male nurse who was actually substituting as a counselor. So he's not even licensed. Like he was just a nurse that was like filling in for these counselors at the veterans clinic. And I said, man, nothing's worked out to this point. And he's like, well, tell me about your past and what you've gone through with filmmaking. And I started all the way back when I was a kid and making like little movies and just acting and doing all that stuff. Then get into high school, and that's when I really got into acting and theater. And I was doing theater instead of film, because at that time it wasn't as easy to make a film as it is now with all the technology and cameras. And this and he's like, okay, well, tell me more. And then we got into college, and he's and I told him, well, I joined the Army because I wanted to get money to go to film school, or to go, at that time I wanted to go to theater school and be an actor, right? Whatever that meant, right? Had this general vague idea. and he's like, okay, so you joined the military to get money for school. And I was like, yeah. And then, and then I came back and was doing theater. And I was like, honestly, and this guy's name, I won't say his last name, but his name was Steve. And he's still around. He's still in this town. And Steve looked at me and he's like, so what what do you think you're going to do? And I was like, I'm on the verge of either walking away or I don't know what to do. It's just not working out. And it's this passion that I want to do for money.
But I'm unable to do it for these reasons.
It's unable to work. And I had 2 shows, back to back, 2 shows that I was working on that just didn't work out. And I was like, and he's like, and I remember he was sitting in his chair with his hands like this. And he was leaning back in his chair in his office. And I was like, I don't know if I want to keep going. And he's like, no, I think you need to. He's like, I think you need to keep going forward. He's like, because he's like, if you walk away from this, he's like, I think you'll slip even deeper into like the depression I was in at the time. Mm-hmm. He's like, which that was right around the time we were doing the script for His Friends that I remember I contracted you to kind of do rewrites on. And so he was like, he's like, no, he's like, you will, I think he's like, if you walk away from this, you'll spiral even deeper. And he's like, you really need to like push forward with this. And so it was, I don't know, 2 or 3, it was like 3 or 4 months later after that I was like, in that 3 month time, I was like, boom, okay, I'm going to start a corporation. I've got an idea for a movie and we're going to use this corporation to do this movie. And that's how the whole Miracle Mile thing was birthed.
Wow.
Was in that time frame, because I went through a point where I was like, I think I'm going to walk away from this. And it was funny at the time. This is like really brutal, but at the time when I was talking to him and around that time frame,
I'm good for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'll have, what's his face? Cut that out there.
Yeah.
So, no, what's his face?
Mark. It's okay.
Sorry, Mark. Not what's his face, Mark.
So go ahead. I want to hear the end of this.
So at this point, I had 2 shows. Nothing came of it. I had no prospects for filmmaking. I had just nothing. I was at a complete dead end, thinking about walking away. And Steve comes along and he said, and before Steve came along in his office and said, no, you need to do this. Everybody in my life was telling me, you need, like, maybe it is time to walk away. Maybe it is time, like, maybe it's time to hang up the hat. I'll never forget, my mom said, well, Tyler, maybe it is time to do something else.
Yeah.
When your mom tells you
who loves you and like likes everything you do, no matter how bad it is. She's like, oh, good job. Good job.
And moms are like, that's the last line of encouragement, right?
Yeah.
When you have the last line of encouragement
telling you like, maybe you do need to hang it up.
That was the cliff edge of defeat. Like that was like, there's no safety net after that. Like your parents usually are your safety net, or you have that safety net in your life of somebody who says, no, you like keep going, keep driving on. And my mom was like, maybe it is time for you to do something else. And I was like, holy beep, 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 and then funny enough, I didn't even see it coming. And then Steve comes along and Steve's like, no, you need to not give up. Like you'll slip even deeper into depression at this point if you do. He's like, you need to just do something. And I was like, it was almost like then starting the Mighty Men of Valor company was like, it was almost like a knee-jerk reaction. Like, I got to do something. You know how like the doctor hits your knee with a hammer to get that
test
reaction?
Your reflexes.
Yeah, it was just like wham. Like it was like him saying that was like, well, you need to do something, which was like the hammer on the knee, which is like, boom, okay, company. Okay, boom, we're going to write this script. And it was just like boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
How cool.
So
How cool.
So that's why the whole why of like for me at that point, I asked the why. I realized with Steve that if I didn't do this, the why, at least for me, was not for an audience to show a film to. Not at that time. It was at that point was to not slip into a darker hole of depression, which we don't, who knows? You don't want to be in. You don't want to be there. Yeah. And so that was my why at the time. And then partially too of contracting with you, Cory, to do that script that I already wrote, and was as another small knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, nope, I got to keep doing this. Boom, contract with you, and then at least we're doing something. And then that was my why.
That's really cool. I kind of relate to that because this thing I've been doing with posting every week, I was just telling my wife and God, I was just like, I need a win. Like,
yeah,
I need something because, like, yeah, nothing's happening, you know? And it's like, yeah, do I give up? And then my third story went viral. So it's like, and it was like a knee jerk. I'm just going to post these stories every week, you know?
Yeah.
Because I heard that in my brain. I was like, clear as day, post every week for 1 year. Yes.
And you felt like that was God speaking to you saying,
I know it was God because it just was so clear. It was like a shotgun in my brain, like boom, post every week for a year. And then I got that first viral one and I was like, oh, I finally have a win. Like, I just felt like there is something here. You know, I'm not an idiot. There's something here. So that really, because I've been struggling with, depression as well. But that really lifted me out to be like, oh, one, I do hear God's voice. Two, I'm not insane. And then, yes, I am talented. I can do stuff. So
I have value. I have something to substance to give.
Sad that I have to get a reaction to feel value.
I think a lot of people do, though. I think a lot of people do. I think we all, in some way, are seeking approval.
Yes.
And I speak as somebody who doesn't want approval. Like, I'm contradicting myself because I've always talked about, like, I don't really care what people think of me. Like, if I have friends, so if I don't get another friend, I've got friends. I'm cool. So I don't really care, like, whether or not a stranger thinks I'm a nice person or hates my guts. That doesn't really bother me. But in some aspect, like, we all want some approval somewhere. And I don't want necessarily people to not like me. I would much be preferred to be a likable person. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to lose sleep over the fact, right? Like, if I cross paths with somebody and it's obvious that they're not going to be my friend, I'm okay with that, right? But we all, deep down inside, I don't care who you are, how tough you are, or how whatever, we all want approval.
And that's part of the why.
Yeah.
Is the why of why you're good. Yeah. You want that approval. Yeah. You want that approval. And and Cory, and you even know, Dustin, like with storytelling, we know that in a really good film or even just a really good story, you've always got to have that dark night of the soul part. Two-thirds of the way through the story, and there we go again, numbers, it's math. 2/3 of the way through, at the end of the second act into the third act, that has to be the lowest point of the film. And I think that, or the story, and that the character reaches the point where they say,
am I going to keep going?
Am I going to push on? If you think about Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, if you think of them as one big film, right? They're three separate films, but at the end of Empire Strikes Back, I mean, Luke has got his arm cut off. He's hanging from the weather vane from Cloud City. He's just been defeated by his father, who is the biggest villain in the universe. Han Solo has been frozen in carbonite. You know, like they've been... It is so bleak, right? And everyone's like on the verge of saying, no, we're going to give up on this, right? And in every great story, the character has to go through that decision of, am I going to give up or am I going to push on? It sounds like with your story, like maybe that was not the moment, but kind of like a similar moment where you were like, do I keep going? And then you prayed, heard God say, post once a week. Like that sounds kind of like one of those moments.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, because you know, when you have a kid, you're not sleeping, and you're nearing 40. You're like, should I change paths? And so there's a lot going on, and to have a win like that, it's just like, oh my gosh, that was like winning $1 million.
Yeah.
But also, those wins don't just come by chance.
No.
Like you had to put yourself out there. You had to put effort into it. You had to put some work in.
I had to work my butt off.
Yeah. Got to put the work in. Put the work in.
And be willing to fail. Be willing to look. Yeah, just throw yourself out there. And
on the path to black belt in our art and Wu Ying Dao, we have what's called gates you have to pass through. And one of the gates that you have to pass through in order to get to black belt, and in this case, quote unquote, mastery, is you have to pass through you have to defeat the dragon. Which dragon is it? I'm blanking. The dragon of fools. You have to be willing.
Willing to look foolish.
You have to be willing to look foolish in order to get past that dragon. It's this dragon that stands in front of you and blocks your path and says, you know, you're going to look like a fool if you do this. You know, and you have to be willing to, and it's the warrior that it's the dragon. You're
putting a pop quiz on me now, man.
Yeah,
hold on.
But so there's a different warrior that guards that gate.
Humbleness.
So the humble warrior. There's the humble warrior and the dragon of fools, and you have to be willing to humble yourself as a warrior to get past. Humble yourself as a warrior and look like a fool to get past the dragon who's saying like, no, you don't want to look like a fool.
Wow, that's genius.
It is.
It's actually really cool if you think about it in like the process of learning. There's 4 of them. Each gate, each you could say gate or point on the map or base in baseball, whatever, you know, each one of those positions, there's an obstacle and a path through the obstacle, the dragon and the warrior. And it's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So anyways, it sounds like you kind of had to go through that and with worrying about looking like a fool and looking like, are people going to like this, you know?
Yeah, or failure.
Yeah, well, the saying in Hollywood is like, you know, you got one shot. You got one shot to prove yourself, basically. So that kind of held me back for a while, but...
Yeah, because you want your one shot to work.
Yeah, because, you know, you tried something and it failed and now no one wants to work with you. But now I've just viewed like, you know, the guy that did Weapons, like the biggest horror movie that just came out? You know, he... came from comedy, and he made one of the worst movies ever made. I think it's called Miss March or something. It's like a really dumb sex comedy. So that once I saw that, I was like, that's not true.
Yeah.
Like you can reinvent yourself. You can.
Well, you can keep knocking on the door.
Yeah.
You can keep trying.
Yeah. So you can do it.
Right on. Well, friends. What do you think? I think you got to go somewhere. You got an appointment?
I gotta, take care of my babies.
Okay. Well, then let's call it a here. Friends, thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of those things. Hold on. One more. It's there. TikTok as well. All of those things could be found at the Formless Pod. We have a website called theformlesspod.com with merch, with pictures of our ugly mugs. And more information on there. Cory, where are you found, sir? Shut up. Not Cory. Just my phone.
Yeah, so I'm on, you can just go to Reddit. If you type in the letter U /cavelice, CAVELISE, so U /cavelice, you can go see all my stories. Make sure you click the posts button and you just go down. There's
and then click all of the arrows pointing in the upwards direction on every single one of them.
I'm not supposed to say that, so
You didn't.
you are
You
free
didn't
to
say
do-
that, sir.
That's
I
true.
did.
The moderators will be mad. But thank you very much. But yeah, please go. If you like the stories, then I hope you enjoy them.
Right on. Right on. Friends,